Hey guys, so happy New Year. I hope you're all having a wonderful time. With my wonderful Christmas money, I got me a new camera. So I don't know how much is gonna impact the fact that I might have a wider lens or whatever. But you guys can see my increasing wrinkles over time. But anyway, let's have a look at this bout. We got Fava against Ramirez, and like one of the first things you notice is how much taller Ramirez is than Fava. So I hope some of you guys will be inspired. And you'll see Fava kind of digs himself into a bit of a hole, but he really claws back out. And a lot of it involves moving, discipline, a good hand, and commitment when you do something. There's no horsing around. Also, another thing to note is actually when I saw Ramirez fence in pools, and he was having a rough time. One of the main reasons I noticed because he was fencing with another Canadian, but he was having a very rough time. And then the day after, he beats Reslin, who was arguably one of the favorites to win. So it's not always how you start; it's how you finish. Okay, so even if you're having a rough start of your competition, get out of pools, fence one bout at a time. You'll be okay. Believe in yourself, right? Don't throw in the towel. So let's reduce myself and get started. So it's top 32 bout. Like making top 16 feels good. Both these guys had a hard match right before, so let's get on with it. Ramirez is very strong if you give him blade. Fava is still pretty. He's a bit more rounded. He'll still take your blade if you give it to him, but he's definitely a speedier fencer. So let's have a look. Camera not following. Thank you. It's a lot of moving. So like you can see like Ramirez is absorbing, but it's not given. So they're staying very far. Like they're rarely going past tip to tip. Okay, when you're exploring, it means that when you go past this distance, you're looking at reactions. Right, and that was just a bit of a awkward, awkward test. Right, so you can see they're starting to go past this distance. However, tries to go in with a little beat, but in my opinion, like it just lacked commitment anywhere. He started something and then he just got a little caught up in what he was doing, and Ramirez punishes. Early on in the match, not a big deal. You just know you got to be careful, but it's still unfortunate to give away a hit for what it feels like is basically free. And one of the reasons, right, especially when you're fencing, especially when you're starting, you really want to stay far is someone may be taller than you, but their blade will never be longer than yours, unless they're French grip, but even there, right, it's the blade. Like the blade to blade, they're the same length. So once you go past here, that's when the height can actually be, someone's height can actually be used, but if you don't give it to them, there's no reason not to. Right, so very carefully teasing the way in. Just see, look how much more. See, just look how much more careful he was with that approach. Feet careful, like locked and loaded. Wonder if they'll go to passivity. A lot of respect on both sides, but specifically from Fava. Ramirez is, obviously leading, so he wants that engagement, right? So right now, oh, so right now it really feels like Fava's found the 8, and that's what he's looking for. He wants to build something off the 8, because that seems to be the only way he's able to kind of test the waters. He goes 8, let's see, leave. So passivity, it is what it is. Don't be afraid to take 1 passivity. Once you are getting to 2, if you're the one losing, you're in trouble. Ah. So how did a shorter fencer get in? Ah, so okay. So he got in. He didn't show his 8, but he instantly saw 6. Instantly takes the distance back, goes back in. So this is just very fast decision making. Go in. C6. Barely get out of distance. This is why this worked. He didn't just jump back as he did before, and then he instantly goes in. See, he barely shows. He just shows a little bit high. He barely extends. So here, if Ramirez extends, his blade gets taken. He feels the blade's forced to do something big, goes in. So he instantly read the previous action, took it, went in. So that was a rushed action. I think Ramirez was kind of tired of just bouncing around. That's fine. Even on the freeze frame, his hand barely moves. You can see how steady the hand is here. Tries to go in. Gets parried. So that was just a rush action. That's not something I'd advise against the French. They're typically pretty well grounded on the LA. So now he's pressuring, but more carefully. This is where Ramirez is scary. Oh man, this is so scary. So like, you're here, you just got pushed back. You have like no say here. You are absolutely just getting rolled. And now, every time Ramirez even gets in close, it's super scary, right? He can really use his height. So I'm just running out. Ramirez sees it, shows high. 1, 2. Okay, so when you got someone at the back, you know you can force it. Boom. Like realistically, what else could Fava do? And like obviously there's a bunch of technical answers, but to me it's why did you end up back there? And the answer is don't get back there. So the solution to this is really starts right here, right on the en-garde. You gave up too much ground for free, and all of a sudden you're stuck in a bit of a do or die situation. And in that situation, it's being the defendant. In this situation specifically, is the odds are low. So it looks like a bit of a play off the last action he did that worked. Except this time Ramirez is a bit more grounded. Right, so since the action wasn't as large, Ramirez was able to double it out. Shows 8 once, he kind of sees the standing up, and he decides to take a chance. I think just good fencing from both sides here. So now you're in that 1 minute period. I think Ramirez wants to keep pressure, and Fava does not want to succumb to that. So what do you guys think would happen? Personally, I would, if I were in Fava's shoes, I'd be like, I need to pressure. I need to just, like, every step Ramirez takes needs to be answered for. And then if you're Ramirez, my goal would be just shove this guy. Get him to the back of the strip. Ah, so let's see. Okay, that was a gunfight, and Ramirez brought them. So this felt really unprepared from Fava, where it didn't have much preparation. Like the other ones, he would look, then go on the one before. This one, he tried to just surprise them. And since Ramirez is pretty on the physical side, he's very strong. So going unprepared is very risky. Ooh, that was nice. So you can't overthink these, but in my opinion, since Fava kept preparing with a bit of Fava kept preparing with a lot of hand actions. This is good, and also like, if this missed, this cost Ramirez nothing. Whereas this cost him nothing, even if it missed, right? It's super nice. He caught him off guard. But worst case scenario, he just backs out. So just good attempt. Ah. So that should probably be a yellow. Oh, did he thought he hit? I think. Oh, look at that. Look at that. Look at that. He bent on his leg. Awkward. So he thought he hit, turns around, and then that should be a yellow, especially with the French coach. Will probably just absolutely pop a blood vessel. No yellow, really. Interesting. Usually the yellows would show here. Anyway, so that was Ramirez's action. A little bit lucky, but it happens. Okay, so right now, he's trying to push, right? And then Ramirez. Oh my god, that was nice. So in my opinion, that was Ramirez reading the preps from the previous period. It was a lot of 8-4. So as soon as the time comes, so he does a beat to sneak in, distract, and then he does the same prep. So a beat, right? It's 4-8. The same disengage goes around that action. Like do a 4, do an 8, the same the same like cutover. This isn't a flick, it's more of a cutover. Or even just slightly bigger disengage. Phrase it how you will, but that's what drew out. So he went beat once, nothing, and all of a sudden beat with high rhythm. That forces the action. So right now Fava is in a rough spot. He just tried to pressure, he couldn't. He got wrecked before he could get in. He tried the gunfight, he lost the gunfight. And then when he goes to the back of the strip, he is in so much trouble. And down 6-3 on Ramirez. No easy feat. So this is something I was talking about earlier. So it kind of... Actually, I think he hits the body. But he gets in close. Okay, so it's hard to say if he hits here or here. But right, once you get past this tip to tip, it's where you can make something happen. And then he punished Ramirez's step. So Ramirez was a little too aggro, and it got red. So it was just a really good read by Fava. Originally, I thought he stayed out of distance to hit the hand on the way in with the squat, but it looks like he went further than that. So Fava got a bit of juice here, so he commands a bit of respect. I'm really liking the movements from these guys right now. They're just both active. Like they're not necessarily doing much, but there's a lot of distance play, which is really fun to watch and show some athleticism. It's not just hopping in place. Look how afraid he is to go anywhere near past a hand. Both of them. It's dead close. Oh, that was sick. I love the attitude. Boom. Without the retreat, this is done. So just amazing fencing both sides. So I think I can pinpoint when Fava decided he was gonna go. It was after this one. Right, so he goes in, boom. Ramirez shows that he's not particularly ready. I think Fava was like I guess in terms of his like fencing IQ and fencing motion, he knew that was the time. And then I think he told himself, if I see it again, I'm going. But Ramirez was just so good. Holy cow. Boom. That little hop just saves lives. Just like that was clean. Good fencing. Right. So right now, so this one, you don't overthink it. It's like no one like it was just a good exchange. So Fava's just trying to just knows he has to set it up a bit more and not react too impulsively. As I say that, he flushes. A little bit lucky. A little bit lucky there, but that's all right. I wasn't in top 32 and you are. I'm not sure what they're arguing, but I think they're just arguing to get in each other's heads. Oh, so they're getting close. So Fava was already there. So it's a lot of beats, and then he varies. Yes, let's look at it again. So he varies his exit. Big retreat. Big retreat. Small. Tip already in. This is really cool. Big, very small. Point in line. He even kind of shows the beat. Oh, it's not a beat, it's disengaged, my bad. So very nice. So he faked the retreat, right? So he did a few big ones, and then in, small, and then he was ready for the disengage. Just very, very clean. Oh my god. The stare down too, just look at that. The old stare down. Oh my god, what a badass. So, right, this starts. Ramirez decides to take. So tactically, this was amazing, right? Because the whole time, like he really caught him flat-footed. Because the whole time Ramirez was going short. This one he went short-long, and he decided to call him out. And he really gets caught flat-footed. Well, flat-footed. He gets caught Air Jordan. Oh, with the stare down. A lot of confidence there. So I think Ramirez, like to me, Ramirez is being a little bit lazy there. Yeah, he just stood up. So right in one of these matches too, like that split second of indecision is costing him a point. And spoiler warning, this match goes to 14-14. So right, there's one parry that missed so far, and that one, whereas single, he just, I mean, obviously, like I don't have the same pressure as him, but here all he had to do is be a bit more ready, and the next 4 seconds he'd be up 8-5. Now third period, that's where it gets scary. Ramirez would be happy to be defensive, but Fava needs to come back, right? So you need to be proactive in your defense. But let's see how Fava manages to get the next point. Oh, so a lot of commitment. So shows 8. So it's actually, honestly, this is very similar to the last point. So maybe I was a little harsh on Ramirez. Maybe it's a tell. Shows 8. Oh man, look how slick that is. Just dook. So the beat, just enough to distract, and it forces like oh man, with the distance being in place. Beat. And look how it's timed. It's on the step. His back foot is still in the air. Oh no. This is beautiful. If you could mimic something like that, like this is money. You can do this. Oh my god, just all day. If you're struggling, man, if you can find when someone lands and go, that's a critical timing to learn. So right now Ramirez like needs to command a bit of discipline, like command a bit of respect here. All right, so Fava's really, like, he's inching forward. He's not crushing a distance. He's inching. Game of inches. I think he got really used to the threatening distance. So earlier in the match, this would have worked, but I think just based on the maybe like timing and a whole bunch of things like that, and also on how ready Fava was for this distance. Right, previously Fava was getting a little too close. Ramirez would get that. No hit, but like just the fact that he was able to adapt to that is just huge. So now they're arguing, right? Since there was a halt, did they reset the passivity clock or not? So the passivity clock does get reset because of the halt. So Ramirez is keeping his tip a bit more sharp. As I say that, he like basically hits the ground. Right, but like here, so one thing to notice, he may hit the ground, like that may have been a huge parry. It was with a retreat. Like a flesh into this, you're gonna lose. But then, right, shows a big parry retreat, tip back in target, goes in. This is where, right, like two same height fencers, probably a double. This is where height comes in, obviously. Right, it is what it is. Nice. So a lot of it is really the approach is more careful than anything. When you pick the action, see again. Aha. Right? So the approach to the attacking distance is the key here. The actual action is whatever, for me anyway. What's more important is how you're getting to that action. Because if you can't even get to that distance, don't even bother. So he really takes his time, and then when he gets in, a little beat, go in. Right, so let's go. Careful. Careful. Sees the 4. In the distance, so it's still parry, remise, done. Oof. Good double. Let's see what triggered him to go. So it was the 6 invite. So big 6, 8 go. But good reflex. Seating cart in the flesh. So now Ramirez is the one not respecting the. Ramirez is the one not respecting the action in. So he's closing in. Step. Hit. So no matter how tall you are, I just love how smooth this is. Step. So this was on the foot raise because Ramirez, it looked like Ramirez was kind of posturing to retreat, but it was just too late by then. Well done. So now it's either fencer. So right now you'd feel like Fava has the momentum, and Ramirez he's in a weird spot for him. Like mentally, if I were him, I'd be in a weird spot because I thought, well, when I back up, I'm getting hit. When I go forward, I'm getting hit. So it's a really tricky act to balance. So I'd really just try to tighten up my advances here. Aha, as I say that. So, Fava doesn't respect the attack. Oh, actually, so at first I thought Fava was lucky to get a double, but it was good. So he gets a little beat. So this is where being tall is awesome. And not to discredit Ramirez at all, because insanely good fencer. But he does get away. He can get away with that. And then Fava, like, kind of give us the flagpole. But idea was good on both sides. I personally, I think Fava was in the right, but, you know, things happen in about. So last minute, this is scary. So this was cool. Look at the difference in rhythm. Yeah, just big tempo change. Ah. So let's see. So too close. Nothing. So right after a bit of a skirmish, which is kind of funny, they're both got their butts up. But Ramirez goes in with a more commanding. I think Ramirez is the one starting too. Yeah. So Ramirez was on the like he had the priority. He started first. Oh, just pushing. It just missed. Just missed. Okay, so good spirit by Fava, and Ramirez just lost track of what was happening. Oh, nice. So I'm guessing this is a bit on how, right? So it's a bit on the mechanics too, right? When someone does 8, they might show 6 after, and they do 8, they might show when they show 6, they might show 8 after. Just a good read. 8, 8, 8, 8, 8, 6, go. All right, is this something you can really condition people to, especially in your practice, right? If you, all right, so right, you go in, show 8, just kidding, show 8, just kidding, show 8, go up high, or show 8 high, disengage to 6. So you can play little mind games and also like just look at physical patterns. So just a double. Honestly, there's not much to look at here. So let's look. This, oh man. So overtime. If we're going into, so we're going to overtime, these two fencers, in my opinion, Ramirez does not want Fava to have time to set up, right? So to obviously this is 20. This is like hindsight, right? 2020 hindsight fencing. In the moment, Ramirez doing what he thought was best. In my opinion, Ramirez just tried to go forward right off the bat. Let's see. Okay, so he is going forward, or at least he's trying. Oh, let's see how close that was. So he's showing the 8, but then instead of, like, he's really not doing 6. He's sticking with the 8. He was a little off, but I think also Fava knows that, like, he's just pushing. Look how quickly. Right, he tries to go in. He doesn't even get the tip across, right? I think he was expecting a 6. Ah, yeah, it's cool. Look at that. So, goes in. Premeditated. He was already trying to go around to either take 8 or do a 6, or do a disengage on a 6. Both which are a similar action. But Ramirez was ready for it. So tactically, this was good. Instead of going 8-6, he went 8-8. 8-8. But then 8-8. And since he was pushing, he couldn't get the riposte. Second one for sure. So let's see. So, so we're back to those. And 2. No chance. So he's shown a 6 and 8. So wow, this was really nice. sneaks in. Caught him off guard. Very nice. I'm gonna mute the kids, they're so loud. So. Okay, so this is probably one of the nicer hits of the tournament, if anything. Okay, so he backs out. So this part, he backs out to create a bit of distance, and I think that's what creates the shock. Backs out, and then, wow. So this here, now they're super far. Kind of goes back in. He barely shows bot, but because the sudden change of speed, Ramirez has to react some way, somehow. And he unfortunately chose wrong, so just so smooth. Nice. So, there we have it. Just good bout in overall. It's an awesome bout, really. Granted, right, Ramirez is what, like 6'4", 6'5". Fava's probably, I'm thinking 5'11" or something. We can check that later. But as long as you commit to your actions and you do them in a good distance, you're always, like, you're going to get the hit. Or at least, if you do it on your own time, you can figure out what the, what you need to change. If you do it always on their time, you're always playing catch up. So if you can always try to be very proactive with what you're doing, height doesn't matter. And like try to, as soon as this foot lands, I'm going. Figure something out, right? And then just practice that at your practice. I hope you guys enjoyed this. As always, thank you very much for watching. And let's see what else we can come up with. Thank you very much.